Okay, so today I'm going to be attempting to age wood. This is a old toolbox that my grandfather made for my wife this Christmas as a Christmas gift. She's always wanted an old toolbox, and every time you see one of these things at an antique store, it's over 60 bucks. So he actually took some wood from an old house that we had renovated, and so this wood is over 75 years old. It's cedar. This is actually just I think a pine wooden dowel that he used as the handle, and he kind of stained it a little bit to try and match as closely as he could to the color of the wood, but she wants it to look a little bit more weathered. This was a beam that was inside a house, a faux beam, so it doesn't have a lot of weathered age to it. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today. Okay, so here are the supplies we're going to be using. This is just steel wool. It is a very fine, super fine grade, and we are going to basically make ironized vinegar, and this is just all natural distilled white vinegar. We'll be doing that in the ball jar here, and then what we'll end up doing after we let that sit for 24 hours so that it starts to break down this iron, we will make a cup of black tea. Black tea is full of good tannins, so that will be coated onto the wood surface, the tea, and then we'll take the aged ironized vinegar and coat over the top of that, and it reacts with the tannins to age the wood. Okay, so I have taken 3 of these steel wool pads out of the package, and as you can see, once you start shredding this stuff up a little bit to try and loosen the fibers so that the vinegar will get to it and break it down a little faster, it gets bigger and it's messy, so you might want to do this over a surface that you can easily clean later. This is just a normal size ball jar, so I'm thinking that 2 of these pads in here is going to be plenty. We'll see how that looks after I shred that up a little bit and put it in. Well, I think I've decided to just go with 1 pad. It's a good bit of steel wool. I'm going to fill the bottle to just cover the steel wool and vinegar, and let that sit for 24 hours sealed up so that it can start breaking down that steel wool, and we'll look at the finished product after 24 hours. Alright, so we've got our ironized vinegar. Life kind of got in the way. I was not able to do this after 24 hours, and so let me kind of hold it up here, you can see better. It looks a little darker now after 72 hours than it has been after 24, but the actual steel wool has broken down more, so there'll be more iron in that vinegar, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so we actually have gotten this black tea right here that's going to be a little bit stronger tannins involved, and we are steeping a strong cup here, so only 6 ounces of water with the black tea bag. Go SEC, Roll Tide for the national championship tomorrow night. And we are going to coat the tea bag water onto the actual toolbox here, let that seep in, and then immediately after it's dry, follow it back up with the ironized vinegar. Alright, so we have steeped the black tea, 6 ounces of water. Let it sit for about 10-15 minutes to steep to a pretty strong brew. And now we are going to start to actually coat the toolbox with the black tea. Just getting a nice even coat. I don't want those tannins to seep into the wood. And of course, this is going to take me a little while, so I'm going to finish coating this wood and we will get back with it. Okay, well, as you can see, I have coated the entire toolbox with the black tea, and I used about all 6 ounces of water. just coating it multiple times, letting it seep in. We're gonna let that dry and come back and paint over it with the ironized vinegar. All right, well, we got the black tea coated in, and I set it out and put a fan on it to dry it out. All right, so we've got the ironized vinegar and it is sealed up. Oh yeah. And it smells like vinegar. And we're gonna see what happens as we coat it. All right, and this is gonna take me a little while, so we're gonna do a little time lapse here. Alright, well, we got it coated. It's obviously darkened it a good bit. The dowel that was used here, being pine, different type of wood, accepted the tannins differently, and as we ironized it with the ironized vinegar, it didn't really darken as much. So I'm thinking as it dries, we'll see how it looks, but I may have to go back and try and do like a stain match on the dowel up here. But overall, looking pretty good so far. We're gonna let this dry out and see what it looks like. All right, well, here's the finished product. Now, this ironized vinegar had sat for at least 72 hours before I started the project. I really do believe that that's why that we got a much darker tone than I had expected. One of the tutorials I had seen previously, it said 24 hours. And then of course, as you let it sit, it would darken, but wow. I think it turned out great. I actually showed it to my wife, and she is under the impression that she actually likes the handle being a slightly different tone than the toolbox itself, but you can see that it really looks like it has a little age on it. I'm happy with it. Came out more of a stained, aged look, but I'm very pleased. Just a side note, you definitely want to be doing this on a surface that you don't mind getting a little dirty, because I assume this is going to have some, oxidized metal in it. That's what causes it to stain this rusted color. But there you go, final product. Thanks for watching.